So last week, I just want to continue it from last week. We discussed about spiritual growth. So it's never ending, it's continuous. Then, after that, I had an interesting thought. Life is also continuous. So, if we take the life is continuous and there is a blip in that life, that blip or a spike in that life, that spike is nothing but the manifested as a physical being, manifestation, physical manifestation. The physical manifestation, we say, okay, this body is born and then dies at some point. And then what happens to the life? It is continuous. I mean, take any religion, take any, esoteric scriptures from any background, whether it's Western, Eastern, doesn't matter. Everyone talks afterlife. So either somebody goes to heaven, hell in some beliefs. In some beliefs, they go into a pause, into some state, and they're born again. Yeah? Like that in Inferno, the 9 gates to the hell, whatever. So there are several dimensions in between, correct? But life is continuous. Then one might ask, what is the purpose of life? How do you define the purpose of life? If my physical manifestation is only a blip, a small spike in the continuous infinite life, how do I understand the purpose of life? Or is there a purpose to the life at all? So life has no purpose, really speaking. Life is just to be. In between, it takes different manifestations in different dimensions. One dimension is this human birth. Sometimes, again, you come to the Eastern scriptures, they talk about because we accumulated something in this human birth, we have to exhaust them. So inevitably, next life has to be human birth. It goes through afterlife and then takes the human birth. So when we say afterlife, basically death after the physical existence. But even when I say life is still an existence, correct? It cannot be anything other than existence, correct? Can it be or will it be? So even if I talk about any existence, even if I say Alexander at some point existed, but life of Alexander still might be existing in some other dimension, or maybe has come back to the same physical dimension, we don't know. So even when we talk about this, the great figures like Jesus, existing somewhere in another higher dimension, in a godly dimension, correct? So anything when we talk about existence, what is the purpose of existence? Really speaking, the existence has no purpose. Just to be. Be in tune with whatever that nature is providing. Then what are we talking about? So-called goals in our spiritual life. Whenever we talk about spiritual life, we talk about a goal. What is the goal? So because of our identity, what happened is, instead of being with the life, the natural state of life, the mind has strayed away into many things. But when it strayed away into many things, it forgot the real idea of what life is. So it constantly became active. If you read Daji's message, he was talking about his vibrations in the consciousness. So consciousness is the element for this physical manifestation within the life. Now when I create a vibratory state in that consciousness, a moment, Now what's happening is it is taking several manifestations, mutations, even within the same physical life. Okay. But these are inner mutations. They're not visible, but they are there. And we are passing that mutation from generations after generation. We are calling it genetics. And not only we are passing this mutation, but we are also passing that vibratory state. So something gets manifested when we are born and something is still in the seed form. So what is manifested cannot be cleaned. But at least what is in the seed form, we can clean it from manifesting. You see the greatest benefit of the cleaning here? We are reducing this vibratory burden on the consciousness so that my next life doesn't have to manifest in the same dimension or not manifest at all. So go into that godly dimension, which some scriptures calls it heaven, or much beyond that. So again, life is constantly changing. It cannot subject to one dimension and stay there eternally. If you think heaven as an eternal abode of life, it cannot be. It has to go much higher and higher and higher until it reaches its originator, its creator. That's the direction it has to take. So then why meditation? What are we doing in meditation? So I have been saying this almost, I think, for last 2 years. Meditation purpose is not to become calm, quieten the mind or anything of those, the regular sort of things. So meditation is to go into a state. See, this mind has come into this vibratory state. It forgets the real state of being, which is the life itself. So when we give the direction to this life, the mind, it's like this, suppose an electromagnet attracts all the metal objects around it. They get stuck to it if it is a powerful electromagnet. We have seen it in the movies. The moment you remove the electricity, all that which is stuck to that electromagnet will drop. They simply drop off. So here mind is always constantly working with that power, that like an electromagnet. It's going from one thing to another, the attention is continuously changing. So when we go into a meditative state with a direction, it comes in contact with that inner life. You can call it soul, you can call it causal body, whatever. When it goes into it, suddenly it loses its power. So all that stuck to the mind drop off. That means automatically most of our impressions drop forever. So meditation is not about achieving something. When we say achieve, then it's all ego. Meditation is to be merged in that life itself, which has no purpose. That itself is the goal of life. Life itself is the goal of life. Think about it. So when we see Daji's message, he talked about mini goals. The reason he has to coin mini goals is it's the same goal, but our perception is slowly changing about that goal. It's like the 5 blind men feeling the elephant. One says elephant is like a big lump of flesh, and the guy who touches the tail or trunk says elephant is like a big python, like a snake. So each one has a different perspective based on from which dimension they are looking at this meditational experience. But slowly it is evolving. One day the whole elephant is visible. but it's the same elephant you are feeling. Like that, it's the same goal you are experiencing in every meditation. So that's why in every meditation we do experience the goal. We do reach the goal. So goal is only in present, it is not in the future. The moment we say goal, we assume it is sometime in the future. If goal is sometime in the future and it is infinite, then there is no one can achieve that goal. But the real meaning of infinite or life is here and now. That means in every meditation, that goal is possible. And it's happening. We are not achieving it, it is happening. We are becoming. Every meditation. Regardless with what mental state we meditate, regardless what situations are going in our life, health or otherwise, every time we close our eyes with a prayerful mind and say, this I'm connecting, being revealed to me, this goal. My mind is drawn into it, and goal is happening. Every meditation. Regardless. Only thing is that consciousness is not enhanced. We are not completely realizing it. So meditation is a process of realization also. That's why in meditation we set the mind free. When we set the mind free, it finds its natural path, natural trajectory. It goes into it. That's why we don't have to do anything in our meditation. Just close your eyes, give the supposition and wait. Let it happen. We don't even make it happen. Let it happen. It just happens by itself. So that's why the goal, the growth is always now. So when we subject our mind to this path of, this meditation, connecting with that inner life, inner self, the mind takes its shape. The nature of the mind is it takes the shape on wherever its attention goes into. That is the power of the mind. It takes its shape. When mind comes in contact with the soul, it takes the shape of the soul. Otherwise, mind has no form or character by itself. All the characters we are talking about in a person, individual, is coming because of the impressions. And that impressions in turn, influencing the intellect and the choices of the person. When those impressions are cleaned, the person has basically, it's wrong to say has no character, but it is the character of the soul. Right? So that's why meditation, just leave the mind free and let it happen. And it's the easiest thing to do. Like I said, regardless of your condition, state of mind, state of the affairs you are going through, situations you are going through, the goal happens. Every meditation. Otherwise, meditation is not an effective process at all. And with the transmission, like we discussed, the goal becomes more evident slowly, surely. Rather, transmission kind of gives the direction to the mind too. It will basically realize where it should go because of the transmission. And with the cleaning, we are removing all the impressions so that the influential pattern on our life is reduced completely. Everything is a pattern, it's a spiral pattern. The microtubules in our DNA, they're all in a spiral pattern. You see, I mean, now even they're talking about the string theory, the vibrations of the strings. You see the movement of the planets, they're all going in spiral, rotating. All movements is spiral in life. So the moment we talk about existence, existence is nothing but movement. That's why it's called soul, moving and thinking. The movement is spiral. So when this pattern is removed, and even microtubules, emit certain frequency, and that emitting of the frequency, if you actually, you can, by giving the same frequency to the microtubules, where there's not a normal growth, even cancer growth, you can actually reset it by giving the right frequencies. That research is still happening, but people thought about it. Right? So when my consciousness is the reason for all the manifestation of our existence. Now this trapped consciousness, when we are influencing with your thoughts and actions, is in turn manifesting within. So it is changing the pattern of the DNA. So when we meditate, when we kind of subject ourselves to this, the higher essence, to the life itself, that pattern drops. Just like the electromagnetic, when the electricity is removed, it drops off everything which is stuck to it. All these patterns drop. So that I can go into a higher dimensional existence. Otherwise, life is also spiraling in the same dimension. It cannot evolve. I mean, life is not evolving, it's the consciousness. When it evolves into a higher and higher godly state, then it doesn't have to think about this dimension. So, I'll stop here. Any questions, comments? I had some other point I forgot. But, this pattern I'm talking about, the pattern, we are even accumulating the patterns from the outside. The moment we say somebody fell sick, then I'm thinking about the possibility of falling sick. Alicia and Jose can confirm. 95+% of humans are hypochondriac. So, and not only our pattern we are kind of manifesting, by observing, by knowing the other patterns, we are trying to manifest those patterns also unknowingly. That's the human nature. So that's why it is very important to go beyond that pattern. Right? We are all hypochondriac. All right. So Alicia, you want to, or Jose, you want to shed some light on it? Get on mute, I guess.
No, well, when it comes to hypochondriasis, yeah, all of that really does come from anxiety, and it's amazing what people that are suffering from that condition. It's amazing that this is the antidote. That right. It's activating a parasympathetic nervous system, doing activities such as meditation, prayer, Tai Chi, Qigong, all the things that at the VA are falling under the umbrella of whole health. Activities like this that eventually get rid of it, because the more they try to tackle it through kind of head on, let me tackle this hypochondriasis, the worse it gets. So.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. All right. So